Hey folks, good afternoon. Welcome to the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd. Happy Monday, last Monday of the year, and most locations are at least seeing some sunshine, which is a little bit of good news. The downside to it, it is noticeably colder. Now, I know a lot of folks are probably welcoming the colder air, but we will drop below freezing in many spots tonight. Before we start getting into the forecast, I did want to join and share one of our viewer photos. This is from Christmas Eve from Kelly, just taken just east of El Dorado with the caption, "Then one foggy Christmas Eve," which I thought was obviously fitting. This was submitted via the Digital Weather Desk app, and you can upload photos, whether it's storm damage, fog, clouds, whatever you may see weather-wise. We want to see it as well, and you can use the Digital Weather Desk app, available for Apple and Android users. Check the visible satellite this afternoon, and quite a bit of sunshine. We are getting rid of the last of the cloud cover, and there are still some clouds to our west. We'll see how that plays a role as we go through the remainder of the afternoon and into the evening hours. I'm generally calling for clear skies through the overnight hours and through the day tomorrow, but a few high clouds can't be completely ruled out as we go through the daytime, overnight hours tonight. Check the radar, and of course, your radar is always made possible by Brown's Roofing. Schedule your free roof inspection at brownsroofingla.com. They had some big announcements made over the Christmas holiday. You can go check out their Facebook page for more information on that. Nothing doing rain-wise, and again, what we did see rain-wise last night was rather light. And that continues to lead to the issue that we need rain, and we need the pattern to change to a prolonged pattern where we can get sustained, prolonged, legitimate, reliable rain chances across the area. And reliable rain totals. Chances are great, but until you can actually get rain down to the ground level and it really verifies the way we want it, we're going to continue with these prolonged drought conditions. And the drought monitor I showed you this morning is updated every Thursday. So we're kind of halfway through the drought monitor, but I would expect more prolonged and expanded drought conditions with the new monitor as it's issued on Thursday. Look at temperatures, and again, most of us are at least into the 40s this afternoon. 41 in El Dorado, 45 in Monroe, 44 currently in Natchez, 45 in Vicksburg, 47 in Winfield and Alexandria. On our way generally to the upper 40s. It's not out of the realm of possibilities for some areas to see the 50-degree mark, but it will be chilly, especially when you factor in the northerly and northwesterly winds that we've encountered through much of the daytime hours. Look at the temperature change, and again, a stark contrast from where we were yesterday. A record-tying day in El Dorado, by the way. I failed to mention that. I kept making notes to go, hey, don't forget to mention that. And I continued to forget to mention it, that we did tie a record yesterday in El Dorado. Most of the area was still well above normal in the upper 70s to close to 80 degrees through the afternoon. So clearly, the colder air has arrived. Winds are out of the north, and they are a bit breezy at times, generally in the 10 to 15 mile an hour range, nowhere near as gusty or as breezy as they were through the overnight hours, but we're still getting some gusts in the 20 to 25 mile an hour range. So be aware of that. High-profile vehicles may need a little extra room on the highways and interstates with those gusty winds. And again, a look at some of the peak wind gusts over the last 24 hours. Most of those were late last night or early this morning. Many of us 40 to 45 mile an hour winds. And again, the highest one measured at the Monroe Airport, 48 mile an hour wind gusts there. Let me check real quick with the Louisiana Mesonet, make sure that we didn't see anything crazy higher than that. Organza was at 41 miles an hour. They're not in our area, so that doesn't count. I mean, it counts. Just doesn't count for our area. Duboc was at 34.6 miles an hour. Natchez, Louisiana, 37.6 miles an hour. Delhi, 37.4. So again, yeah, the highest wind gust that we observed was at the Monroe Regional Airport. Futurecast, made possible by Bayou Power Sports. I-20 frontage road in Monroe shows those northwesterly winds kind of fighting and filtering in drier air, so whatever cloud cover we do have sneaking in from the west likely gets zapped to a certain degree through the overnight. So again, we'll call it clear skies. Yes, Susie, it was quite chilly, and that wind just makes it worse. In fact, the winds will continue to stay at least breezy at times through the early part of the day tomorrow, and that could lead to some low wind chills along the Mississippi Valley to start the day. We'll get to that in a minute. Winds become more westerly for the last day in 2025, and then we ring in the new year with relatively quiet, dry conditions on a warming trend as southerly winds start to set up ahead of an area of low pressure that's likely to be somewhere in this general area by Friday morning, stirring up the warm southerly and southwesterly winds ahead of that low that moves overhead and eventually brings some subtle rain chances for Friday. Most of it, again, isolated to scattered in nature, nothing overly impressive. And then skies clear back out as we go into the weekend. A look at temperatures, and most of us, again, see at least a little bit of a rebound today. It won't be our high temperatures for the day because we've already kind of reached those for most of us. That was late last night before the front moved through, or just shortly after the front moved through, as the temperatures were in that free fall. We were warmer last night than we will be this afternoon, where most of us land in the upper end of the 40s. Tuesday morning, tomorrow morning, back into the mid to upper 20s to near 30 degrees for most locations. Again, quite chilly to start the day. You combine a northerly wind in the 5 to maybe 12, 13 mile an hour range. It's going to be pretty uncomfortable to start the day. Temperatures do rebound maybe a degree or two better tomorrow, but still only mid to upper 40s. We're back below freezing for the last morning of 2025, or at least close to freezing. I think a lot of the area will be below freezing. Winds will be back out of the southwest, so we start the warming trend then. We're back to near 60 Wednesday afternoon. Some areas could even flirt with the 70-degree mark. In fact, let me check the clipboard. I should have just left it over here. I'm going to leave it over here. Yeah, I do have us back into the low 70s Friday ahead of the cold front. But we could see some areas flirt with the 70-degree mark as early as Thursday afternoon. Morning lows will be back in the 30s and 40s. I have us upper 30s for Thursday morning and then mid to upper 60s for Thursday afternoon. You'll see that in the 7-day in just a minute. And good afternoon. Yes, quite the nice day, but it is chilly. Cold weather advisory is in effect for tonight across Concordia Parish and Adams County, Mississippi. So here's the thing, all right? We've consolidated a lot of different cold weather warnings and advisories. We used to have wind chill advisories, and then we had extreme cold watches and extreme cold warnings and all these different types of things. And to kind of help simplify all of that, and this is not a local National Weather Service thing, this is a national thing, we've simplified that by now doing cold weather advisories and extreme cold weather warnings and extreme cold warnings, or whatever they're called. So we've simplified all of this, and instead of having a bunch of different advisories and warnings for different things, hard freezes and all that stuff, it's just cold weather, extreme cold watch warning, cold weather advisories. I think I got that right. It's still, again, it's a very new thing. But essentially what this is saying, and here's what makes it even kind of worse, if you will, is the fact that each Weather Service office has different criteria for issuing all the different advisories and warnings. So the National Weather Service in Jackson and the National Weather Service in Shreveport have slightly different criteria as to how they issue these warnings and advisories. So essentially, this cold weather advisory that's being issued for Concordia Parish and Adams County is for wind chills that are likely to reach the teens overnight tonight through the early part of the day tomorrow. And again, if you think that I am bad-mouthing the National Weather Service, I'm not, especially our local offices, because they're awesome. Do I think that we sometimes overcomplicate things by trying to uncomplicate things? Yes. But I say that, and in like 3 or 4 years when this becomes commonplace and we're used to it, because this is only, I think, year 2 of all these changes, maybe the only first full year. But anyway, once we get used to all these changes and this just becomes commonplace, then we don't have to worry about all that. But there's the cold weather alerts for tonight. Wind chills in the teens. The hour by hour, and by the way, your winter weather and cold weather alerts and all severe weather alerts are made possible by Allegiance Health Network, providing high-quality, patient-centered care through a clinically integrated network of healthcare professionals. Your hour by hour forecast, I didn't want to show the high temperature for the day because, again, we've already met that. But most of us will see a little bit of a climb into the mid to upper 40s this afternoon. Then we fall tonight, eventually dropping below freezing, but that won't happen until the overnight hours. Martha says her mom's rooting for the 70s. I don't blame you. Leanne wants summer back. Susie's asking for warmer weather. Everybody wants the warmer weather back. You're going to like the 7-day in just a minute. May asks, will this be a water-dripping cold night? Probably not a bad idea, especially, probably not a bad idea area-wide. Again, when it comes to dripping faucets, I'm very much an err on the side of caution kind of person. What's the harm in dripping the water just a little bit to avoid hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of repairs and a mess? So usually when we drop, for me and my family, if you drop into the 20s, probably a good idea. It also depends on your home. But a lot of the area will be in the mid-20s tonight and will be below freezing for an extended period of time, especially across southern Arkansas and areas along and north of I-20. So there's the forecast for tonight. Upper 20s, mid-20s for some. Winds will be out of the north-northwest. I'll look at the 7-day forecast, and this is one of those weird days where, again, we've already met our high temperature for the day, so I've went ahead and cleared that out on the 7-day. But we have not likely seen our low temperature for the day. We will probably be colder tonight at midnight than we were this morning. The winds will die down to a certain degree, Jan, tomorrow. They will still be breezy. They won't be as gusty as they were today. And the sustained winds will be weaker than they were today. I would generally think in the 10 to 15 range. 5 to 15 maybe in some spots. But 10 to 15 is probably a pretty safe bet. 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Hardware. Yes, we have the New Year's Eve ball. It kind of looks like a disco ball. I just wanted to show it just to see what it looked like. Sometimes you don't know what things look like until you actually play it and look at it. It looks pretty cool. Friends at Barron did a pretty good job with that. Daytime highs back in the 40s for Tuesday. Morning lows below freezing for the next couple of mornings as we wrap up 2025. So going to 2026, it'll be on a warm note. Above average. 60s for highs Thursday. 70s Friday ahead of the front that moves through late. That brings us slightly cooler temperatures this weekend, but still above normal. And that sets us up for the rest of this year. And into early next year. Oh, by the way, today's forecast made possible by Flying Tiger Brewery and Pizza Bar. I think they're closed today. They'll be back open tomorrow. They'll have a full laundry list of everything they've got going on for the week. They'll have music. They'll have New Year's Eve plans, I bet. They'll have all kinds of stuff. I think they are doing their open New Year's Day. I don't know. I let James to explain all to you. If you're not following them on Instagram and Facebook, that's where they give you all the musical lineups, all the beer specials, pizza specials, all that stuff. Make sure you follow them there. So that's how things shake up for the rest of this year, and like I said, going into the weekend. Forecast is always available at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app, available for Apple and Android users. If anything crazy happens, I'll let you know, but I'll join you later today for a late look at the forecast as we really wrap up this year. We could see a storm system at some point next week. I don't even want to really throw it out there as much of a scenario because we're just so early in the process. Again, check the app. Just uploaded all the new numbers for the entire area. It's all on the clipboard. It's all been put into the app and on the website. Go check that out now. I'll check in with you later today. And as always, thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. Have a great rest of your Monday. I'll check in with you in a couple hours.